sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. Thousands gathered to remember the life of Charlie Kirk as his widow speaks out. Her message, that's just ahead. And a body discovered Friday in Victoria leads to an investigation. We'll share what we know so far. Plus, Ukraine's president is set to meet with the president as tensions continue to rise.
And for the first day of fall, that's today and tomorrow, we're looking at some slight rain chances with some mostly sunny skies, keeping the heat at bay. But if you're not a fan of that, we've got heavier rain, possible severe weather, and a cool front to talk about. All that weather coming up.
Well, good morning, Crossroads. 40 years ago, Stroman's baseball team made history. I caught up with the Chimps to relive the glory. Stay tuned.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy first day of fall. Now, we are in South Texas, which is why I'm not quite fall-like today, because it's still going to be warm. But that doesn't mean we can't get in the spirit of fall.
That's right. That's right. Now, this is the first day of astronomical fall. It's the autumnal equinox, but the first day of meteorological fall was September 1st. Now, this week we will actually be looking fall-like thanks to, you heard me say it, a cool front and rain. Well, we're going to talk about all that here in just a few moments, I promise, because, well, first things first, we already have some rain to talk about this morning, and all of it is really in our far eastern counties, really in the far eastern part of Matagorda County this morning, heading up into, I guess, northwest of Brazosport. What we did have just a few sprinkles that were around Matagorda Bay earlier. You can see most of that is withered away, except for a couple sprinkles near Blessing. So if you're going to be traveling towards the Houston area, northeast of us this morning, make sure to be careful. You might see a couple showers here and there trying to rain on the road. Otherwise, Victoria, that is not the case. We actually got a lovely sunrise. See some partial cloud cover in the background. 74 degrees in Victoria, warm and humid like we always are because our dew point is matching that temperature. 100% humidity. Now, that would guarantee some fog, but it's going to be light fog. So don't worry about it this morning because we got some mixing in the air. And with the mixing, because of our southeasterly Gulf winds, well, we're all warm and humid this morning. Mid, upper 70s, even low 80s, getting closer to that warm Gulf water. And the rest of Texas is following suit thanks to the southeasterly winds all across the state, except the Panhandle. They just had a cool front, not the one that's coming our way. We'll look at that later, I promise, because if you're sending your kiddos out the door this morning, we're looking for mostly sunny skies and maybe some afternoon rain showers. Look at those details next.
Police are investigating after finding a body late Friday night outside of a Victoria business. Officers were called to 1901 Houston Highway around 11:19 p.m. That's where a passerby reported seeing a body on the sidewalk near a car wash on Friday. The victim is a 34-year-old white man. Police say no gunshot wounds were found, but an autopsy has been ordered to determine the cause of death. The investigation is ongoing. The Victoria County Fire Marshal is looking into what caused a large fire in Placido. When firefighters arrived early Friday morning, multiple buildings, including one occupied home, were already burning. Crews worked quickly to protect two nearby homes, and both were saved. No civilians were hurt. One firefighter was treated for heat exhaustion and returned to duty. The city of Seadrift is now looking to fill two key positions after resignations from Public Works Director Gino Alshire and City Secretary Wendell Netzer. Netzer announced her resignation during Thursday's special meeting. In one of her final actions, she addressed an agenda item that would bring in express employment professionals to handle the city's hiring process, including for the recently vacated director and secretary roles. She says her decision to step down comes from feeling unsafe while serving in the position.
The citizens, some of them, I feel uneasy. It's almost an unnervous hatred that I'm almost scared to go home. I'm getting caught up in drama that I don't want to be in. I've already retired. I worked for the Boeing Company for 30 years. I'm being sued, and I've only been in this state for 1 year and in this city for 30 days. I really love being here, and I actually love this job, but it's that bad.
Netzer says the contractors will take 20% of the new hire's salary as a finder's fee, but if the employee quits within 60 days, they'll find a replacement for free. The city doesn't have to use the company for every hire. Alderman Tracy Johnson says she hopes the city can convince Netzer to stay. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's meeting with President Donald Trump this week. As U.S.-Russia tensions rise, he says they'll talk on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. Their meeting comes as Trump says he will defend the Baltic states and Poland from Russia if necessary. That's after Russian incursions into NATO airspace. Article 5 of the NATO treaty says an attack on one member state is an attack on all of them. It requires alerting the UN Security Council, and that group is holding an emergency meeting today at Estonia's request. Now to a day of remembrance for slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Here's ABC's Perry Russem with the details.
A stunning moment at Sunday's memorial service for Charlie Kirk as his widow Erica forgave his killer.
He wanted to save young men, just like the one who took his life. That young man. I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do.
Erica Kirk says she's honored to be the new CEO of Turning Point USA, the organization her husband founded. She vows to continue his legacy of embracing debate with political opponents.
The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love.
He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica.
Trump embracing Kirk's widow as America the Beautiful rang out. Kirk tells the New York Times she had urged her husband to wear a bulletproof vest before his final campus tour. She says she now wears the pendant of St. Michael, the same one he had around his neck when he was killed. It's still marked with blood from the attack. The 5-hour service attracting tens of thousands to State Farm Stadium near Phoenix. Nearly the entire Trump cabinet was there. Elon Musk also seen meeting with Trump for the first time since their fallout in June. President Trump says he will honor Kirk with the Medal of Freedom. Perry Russem, ABC News, New York.
Victoria County Commissioners are set to meet at 10 this morning. On the agenda, they'll consider reappointing Byron Burris to the Victoria County Navigation District Board of Directors for a 2-year term and receive for the record the fully executed interlocal agreement with the Golden Crescent Regional Planning Commission for E911 Public Safety Answering Point Services for the Victoria Office of Emergency Management and more. They meet at 10 a.m. on the second floor of the Victoria County Courthouse in room 241. Remember, follow us on YouTube Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time now, let's get a look at our clock up here at 6:38 on our Monday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. A sweeping effort to tidy up the city was underway over the weekend.
Several of America's closest allies parting ways with President Trump and Israel over the war in Gaza. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details and how President Trump is responding.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, you heard me say we have a chance for rain today. So coming up next, I'll tell you just when I think that rain might be here. Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Monday. It's the first day of astronomical fall, the autumnal equinox, and for this week, for the first week, we are finally looking kind of fall-like. And we're going to look at why that is here in just a little bit, I promise, because before any of the fun, rain, and cool front action gets here, we've got to deal with some mostly sunny skies and lower rain chances. For today, Monday, and tomorrow, Tuesday, both days, the rain chance is going to be at 30% to maybe see some isolated showers, and that'll be in the afternoon time because you just saw that's 9 a.m. Here's noon time. It's looking pretty sunny out there, so also grab your sunglasses because I think it'll be mostly sunny out there for both today and tomorrow. But also in the background, we're going to have that 30% rain chance, and that's going to go between 1 p.m. all the way to 5 p.m. later this afternoon, to which we're going to see a few isolated spotty showers trying to form off of that daytime heating commencing, and also thanks to a sea breeze that will advance inland, which we normally see in the summertime months. Now, here's 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Like I said, sometime around 5 p.m., rain activity should mostly cut off, and we're going to be looking mostly clear for overnight tonight, and that'll let our low temperatures drop to the low and mid 70s. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, like I said, that chance for rain continues at 30% for maybe some isolated afternoon showers. But if you don't see any rain, we're looking just a tad hot out there. Mostly sunny skies, heating to 93 in Victoria, which is 3 degrees above where we're supposed to be, and everyone else should be looking for about the same thing, low 90s, maybe even mid and upper 90s in our western counties. So y'all stay safe in the heat. Otherwise, keep looking at the radar because we've got chances for rain that will be skyrocketing with the front, and we're going to look at that next.
Now, how often does your typical class reunion also mark the 40th anniversary of the school's first and only baseball state championship? Saturday morning at Riverside Stadium, we celebrated exactly that. The 1985 Stroman State Baseball Championship team was honored, and I had the chance to catch up with some of the players from that unforgettable team.
It's great to come back and see these guys. I mean, that was a magical time back in 1985, winning state. Great group of guys, great coaches. I mean, we put in a lot of dedication to get there. That was a feat that Victoria's never seen before, and I don't know if they'll ever see it again at that magnitude. So it's amazing.
Now, make sure you tune into our YouTube page to see this full story and hear from another baseball player. But that does it for your 25 News Now Sports. Until next time, I'm Ray Robinson.
This morning, several of America's most important allies are now saying they formally recognize the state of Palestine. It comes as President Trump prepares to speak at the UN General Assembly this week. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with details.
This morning, some of America's closest allies are parting ways with President Trump and Israel over the war in Gaza. The UK, Canada, Australia, Portugal, and others now say they will recognize a Palestinian state for the first time, calling for an end of the war in Gaza and the release of all hostages.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East, we are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu slamming the move, calling it a reward for terrorism, going on to say bluntly, it will not happen. A Palestinian state will not be established west of the Jordan River. Netanyahu saying during a cabinet meeting Sunday that he plans to meet privately with President Trump during the UN General Assembly this week. Trump opposes recognizing a Palestinian state, but overnight on Air Force One said this.
I'd like to see a diplomatic solution. There's a lot of anger and a lot of hatred, you know that. And there has been for a lot of years. This is not something new, but hopefully we'll get something new. We're studying Gaza and dealing with Gaza very strongly. That's a real mess.
The UN General Assembly voted to allow the president of Palestine to address the gathering of world leaders. His speech will happen virtually after the Trump administration declined to grant him a visa. As President Trump gets set to address hundreds of world leaders at the UN General Assembly on Tuesday, law enforcement is rethinking and expanding security. ABC News joining NYPD counterterrorism officers as they patrolled the streets near the UN headquarters in New York and saw the hundreds of armored SUVs used to shuttle dignitaries around the city.
It's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
I mean, the logistics piece that goes with this national special security event is huge. This is just one piece of it.
Law enforcement say they plan to deploy more drones than ever, alongside thousands of officers and federal agents on the ground, in the air, and on the water. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We want to know, should Palestine be recognized as a free state? 34% of you say yes and 66% of you say no. And we have a few comments from our viewers in connection to the topic. Jesus of Victoria says it needs to stop. I believe it's in reference to the ongoing conflict. And Eddie of Inez says these people are suffering from all the devastation. Sad. Thank you for taking part in our viewer poll. Come to crosswordstoday.com/vote to keep taking part. At least 400 volunteers came out for Keep Victoria's annual fall sweep. Keep Victoria Beautiful's annual fall sweep. The group worked across the community and along highways Saturday morning, picking up trash to help keep the city clean. Organizers say the fall sweep is one of the largest cleanup events of the year, bringing together families, students, and local organizations. Keep Victoria Beautiful says more cleanup events are planned in the coming months, and they're encouraging more residents to get involved. A Victoria resident says she's had enough of stray dogs taking over her neighborhood and even her own yard. Leslie Kusarek lives on Goldman Street. She says she called Victoria Animal Control hoping the dogs would be picked up and taken to a shelter. The dogs aren't her pets and she doesn't know who they belong to. Instead, she says she was handed 4 citations for failing to vaccinate the dogs. Now she doesn't know what to do.
I called animal control because there's like so many dogs roaming in and they're coming to my home and they've been going into everybody's yards. And right now, like I called animal control. I thought they were going to take them, but instead I'm getting blamed and they're blaming it on me. They're pinning it on me that they're my dogs, but I can't afford to provide for these dogs. And now I have to appear in court.
Kusarek says Animal Services told her that since she fed the dogs, they now legally belong to her. We reached out to Victoria Animal Services for comment, but we haven't heard back yet. The time is now, let's get a look at our clock up here. It is 6:47 on our Monday morning. Still to come on Sunrise. Claims of potential new treatments for autism spark debate in the medical community. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Katie. Katie, hope you are having a great start to your birthday week. Enjoy your special day. Happy birthday to Katie. You know, Katie was one of the first people I met when I moved here.
Oh, was she? That's awesome. Happy birthday, Katie. And also, she's our wild girl. She's our cherry bomb. Rock singer Joan Jett turned 66 today. Happy birthday, Joan. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, you can come to crossroadstoday.com. Just click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
Okay, the time is now 6:48 on our Monday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today, and happy birthday if you got to celebrate over the weekend.
That's right, over the weekend. Happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all just scoped out this 7-day forecast just a few moments ago, and you probably saw a few things that likely caught your eye. Talking about a couple things. First of all, this box right here, possible alert. That means we have a possible alert day up for Wednesday, not officially just yet because we're kind of waiting for the computers to bring us more accurate information, but that'll be up for possible heavy rain and possibly severe weather thanks to a cool front that will be coming through Wednesday night, dropping our highs to the 80s for one day, and then we'll right back to the sunshine and 90s for the rest of this week. So definitely get out there and enjoy Thursday because that front, it's coming from, well, coming from a couple features. We're looking at it on satellite, clear across Texas thanks to northwesterly winds off the dry Rockies. But right now, the Rockies are not that dry. You see all the clouds all over the mountains and also over the deserts of Arizona and New Mexico. That is all of that moisture remnants from post-tropical storm Mario, which we had talked about in the Pacific last week. And here's the remnant low pressure system that's associated with that. And then here's the cold front that's associated with an upper level low pressure system up in Canada right now. So what's going to happen over the next few days is that front, it's going to shunt all of that moisture southward down into Texas. Starting with tomorrow, Tuesday, you can see we have a flash flood risk, level 2 out of 5 up in the Arkansas area, but that risk shifts south into the Crossroads by Wednesday, and we also have a severe risk on Wednesday, level 1 out of 5, so it's really low. But all that thanks to possibly heavy winds with this line of storms as the front passes Wednesday night. And we're going to look at all of that and more later on Sunrise.
The Trump administration promising a major announcement about autism today. Some claims that have health experts concerned. ABC's Allison Cossack has details.
Trump today is expected to announce his administration has, quote, found an answer to autism. He spoke about the disorder overnight while returning to the White House.
There's obviously something artificial that's really wrong. And we think we know what that is.
The Washington Post reports the administration is planning to link autism to the use of Tylenol in pregnancy and is expected to claim that the FDA-approved cancer drug leucovorin is a possible treatment for autism. Both claims raising concern among many doctors.
It's extremely dangerous to raise fear and alarm in pregnant women. Why add to the misery and the fear-mongering when it is based on very limited evidence?
No studies have proven that use of Tylenol, known as acetaminophen, by pregnant women is a cause for autism. Some limited evidence suggests it's associated with higher rates of neurological issues, but those studies have been mixed. The maker of Tylenol saying, "We believe independent, sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism. We strongly disagree with any suggestion otherwise." Scientists who've been studying autism for decades warn the administration's timeline examining this has been too short to come up with a single cause. Doctors and autism researchers point to figures showing rates of Tylenol use during pregnancy have declined in recent years, even as rates of autism have increased. As for the possible use of leucovorin as an autism treatment, many doctors again voicing skepticism.
We need to do large-scale randomized trials before we can say with any certainty that this is a treatment that autistic children should receive.
Doctors say the reason they recommend Tylenol in pregnancy is that it is known to be a safer medication than Advil, Motrin, or aspirin because it's not associated with bleeding, and when used appropriately can lower the risk of fever-induced risks with pregnancy. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Big changes coming to a long-standing government report, what it means for millions facing hunger. The Trump administration is scrapping plans to release an annual report on hunger. The Agriculture Department will issue its last report on food insecurity in the next month. The department spokesperson said the annual report on hunger became redundant, costly, and politicized. The department claims trends in food insecurity have remained virtually unchanged despite an increase in government benefits between 2019 and 2023. A new government report shows despite the Trump administration's tariffs, the price of a new car has held steady in recent months. But people are noticing a difference on vehicle repairs. The latest Consumer Price Index found car repairs rose 5% between July and August, and overall car repairs are up 15% from a year ago. Analysts say the tariffs are mostly to blame. President Donald Trump says media mogul Rupert Murdoch and his son Lachlan could soon be among the investors interested in buying TikTok. Last week, when the U.S. was in talks with China, a deal to bring the social media app under U.S. ownership is very close. Lachlan Murdoch is the chief executive of the Fox Corporation. Victoria unemployment rate rose in August. The rate last month was 4.9%. That's up from 4.3% in July and up 0.4 of a point from a year ago. Over 300 more people were unemployed in Victoria in August than in July. And now let's get a final look at our forecast with Parker. How is that sunrise looking?
Well, as always, it's looking nice and pretty to us. Look at this beautiful sunrise, y'all. We got like the perfect little bit of clouds kind of covering up the sunshine. You can see we got a little bit of gold kind of showing itself over the cloud tops right now, but 74 is what we're starting at in Victoria, which is a degree off from our dew point. Like always, we're humid, 97%, but right now we do have a little bit of mixing in the air, so no fog, and you can actually see right here on the visibility map, no fog this morning, so don't worry about that. And also don't worry about rain right now because the radar is showing pretty clear skies for most of us, except for like eastern parts of Matagorda County. So if you're over there, get ready for some rain. Otherwise, I'm going to say everyone get ready for rain today. Chances are 30% from 1 to 5 p.m. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies will heat us up to about 93 in Port Lavaca. Same timing and the sky cover for Victoria. 93 for the high, maybe even 94, and the same in Cuero, 94 today, maybe even 95. So y'all stay safe in the heat. Keep on checking radar all day to make sure you got some showers coming your way, and definitely do it again later this week because we got much better chances for Wednesday with that cool front finally coming through.
Thank you, Parker, for that great news, and thank y'all for being with us this Monday morning. Be sure to join Shauna, Dawn, Maclovia, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Make it a great Monday.